Hello, everyone. I will be very briefly discussing the three papers that were presented today, and as well, I have a few questions, but I would leave the larger part of the questioning to the crowd. Well, we engaged with three works on how human life and work is organized today, and especially how it is organized today on the shoulders of the most marginalized sections of the society, and particularly on the unpaid labor of women. And in the first paper, in the production and reproduction of care networks, we largely looked at the interlinkages between paid and unpaid work, and we brought household as a unit into the discussion of how production is taking place. And Comrade Ruchira, very interestingly, she gave us a history of definitions of how care work has come to be. And in fact, it's very important for us to understand that these are not just definitions into how care work has been conceptualized worldwide. These words which have been used to define care work are also important interventions into how women's labor has been organized historically and how it has impacted the life of working class at large, and how capital has penetrated itself into the social institutions of caste, of gender, and how it is manipulating value creation itself. And then again, in the second chapter on platform economy by Comrade Gayatri, she gave a history of how from 2015 the penetration of gig economy, how it has falsely transformed, just given us a transformation in words of work, and rather it has intensified the caste hierarchies in the society, the gendered division of labor as well. And the concept of dignity as a philosophical concept rather than any actual material transformations in the life of people is something we need to be really conscious about when we are discussing especially informal work, and largely conceptual on how we look at flexible work today. And from the 90s, when flexible work has become a new concept of employing people into, and the terms like entrepreneurs and all, we see how these are employing people who otherwise are already suffering under the whims and fancies of capital. And any such assimilation of workforce in such a manner then, especially like in earlier we've seen on the factory floor, there are certain social security benefits that are supposed to be given to workers, which have completely gotten eroded in such formulations of modern work. And especially honestly, the first two discussions bring us to the actual crisis of how it is looking at in the third paper, where we're seeing a crisis of debt in not just in terms of monetary values, in terms of how the relations in which people are organized, how the relations in which work is organized is getting reiterated. It's not like nothing transformative is happening. People who are coming from a lower caste are again having to depend on similar kind of caste division of labor. Women are still being put into similar kind of gendered labor. And we see this in her paper. We saw how increasing stress of debt are falling on women primarily for just reproduction. They're not taking it to spend on anything unimaginable. It's happening for basic reproduction and basic household needs. That points at an acute crisis of social reproduction which is happening in the country and in the world today, and how working class women are bearing the larger burden of it. I have a few general questions and I think a couple of pointed questions. To Comrade Ruchira, if you could elaborate on the impact of migration for work, because a lot of care network also employ women who are migrating for work, especially globally and otherwise. And a lot of, to Comrade Gayatri, because we have always looked at how women's labor has been unaccounted and it's not visible in data, and how formations such as platform economy, how that sort of a data accounting would impact on the larger counting of women's work and how it would impact women's labor. And I feel it's like a general, I don't have any particular questions to Comrade Krithi, because honestly the next time I was organizing any public hearing or some stuff related to particularly the depth survey, I would really encourage all of you to attend, because in the last public hearing we heard actual accounts from women who have borne the burden of this debt economy, and it's truly shocking. There is, for lack of a better word, it's truly shocking of what is the situation of debt in the country today and what is the actual loot by microfinance institutions today. And this is like a general question on the impact of the new labor codes on the impact of women's work. That's it, we can.